James O'Keefe, who joins us now. He's the founder of Project Veritas, with some breaking news, and their latest video exposes what we have all long suspected, and that is that social media platforms are misusing their access, their control over your personal information. And today, James O'Keefe is revealing in this video, we'll put it up on Hannity.com, it's on Project Veritas's video site, of course, revealing that Twitter employs a network engineer who admits to hacking President Trump's account and bragging about his ability to read all of his direct messages and revive deleted tweets and secure passwords. And upsetting as all of this gets, it gets worse. Then you have Twitter employees admitting to giving this private information to the Department of Justice and looking at Julian Assange's account, among other things. Anyway, talk about privacy being dead. It's dead. James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, how are you?
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me on, and this is the first in a series of videos undercover inside Twitter confirming suspicions. We always thought they were sharing our private direct messages with government or with people or selling it. We always thought they were shadow banning people from timelines. Well, Project Veritas has launched a very ambitious undercover investigation exposing it, and thanks for playing all that sound. There is some breaking news. Twitter did issue a statement.
Well, I've got that statement in front of me, and they responded to it. And what they're saying is, in this particular case, the individual depicted in the video was speaking in a personal capacity and does not represent or speak for Twitter. Twitter only responds to valid legal requests and does not share any user information with law enforcement without such a request.
Right. So they're kind of throwing him under the bus there, and they're saying that he was speaking in his personal capacity. But, Sean, if anyone at Twitter would know, this guy is not a low-level IT guy. He's a senior network security engineer. And after talking to people who know this business, he is the person at Twitter that would know that they can do this. They're willing to do it. They're able to do it. They may be doing it. And he says it's, quote, creepy, very big brotherish. He calls himself the bouncer of the network. He's talking about how they are taking Trump down. That Trump's taking the country down, and they have to take him down. So it's very interesting to see how he articulates his philosophy towards Trump and what they're willing to do. By the way, the employee himself, a guy named Clay Haynes, is the senior network engineer, actually tweeted this morning that, quote, "This is no fun."
Yeah, he wrote this. Well, this is no fun.
Right. So
I'm sure it's not.
So Twitter thinks he's an isolated incident, Sean. But you know my MO. In fact, you've seen some of the tape that's going to come out. We have so many of their people on tape, and we put them in a box where they say, "Oh, this is just a rogue employee saying this," and then we release more. So Twitter is going to have to face the facts here over the next few days.
Can you get into how many installments we have on this?
There's a few. There's more than 3, and while this one focuses on them cooperating with the Justice Department, which, by the way, Tim Cook at Apple fought subpoenas logging into people's phones when it came to terrorists. So I think that their leadership, I think the CEO needs to respond to their attitude about even complying with subpoenas. It's news that there's a subpoena against Twitter for Trump's private direct messages. The next video, Sean, will likely focus on this whole concept of shadow banning. That's muting someone from the timeline so that we
explain what that means, because a lot of people don't know what that means.
Well, I'm going to get into it probably tomorrow, but it means that you can tweet something out, and you think that your tweets are going to all of your followers, but your followers don't see what you write on their timeline. Twitter is the town square, and because they can screw with these algorithms and adjust things, they can actually censor you without you even knowing it. And that's what these videos are going to show. And we've always suspected it. Now we're going to prove it with their words, not mine.
All right, so this is an amazing thing. Walk us through the entire operation that you had here, because it was pretty sophisticated, or I don't know if you want to go into all the details, but you managed to actually get Twitter people to come to you.
Well, Sean, it's hard for me to get into the specific aliases, but I will say, Sean, that I take a lot of heat at Project Veritas, and you know that we did when we went after CNN, the New York Times, and the Washington Post for the aliases that we use. We use a variety of aliases to get people to open up to us, and we never break the law. And we never try to lie to the American people. We never deceive publicly. But we go undercover. We pose as something that we're not.
I know that a lot of people were attacking you when the Washington, when I guess somebody figured out it was you. And I'm like, all right, good for them. So what? That doesn't negate all the times that you've gotten incredible exposés on corrupt institutions. I mean, that doesn't take away the other good work you've done. But yeah, some people they're so afraid of you. I mean, that to me is a good thing. It means you've been effective.
Yes, we're getting flack. I mean, we get vociferously attacked, but we use a variety of aliases. We pose as terrorists, drug dealers, pimps, hookers, child abusers, rape victims. In this case, we posed as a headhunter, and we did other aliases. We can't get into the alias, but we entice them into a meeting. They want to meet with us. They want to spill the beans about their trade secrets, about the things that they're doing that are wrong, and then we secretly record the interaction in public places where there's no expectation of privacy. This operation took us about a year. This is the first video. As you know, Sean, there's always more videos, and I think this is going to change the way people see the world. When they see and hear in this video that they're looking at your direct messages, and there's more on this. They're sharing your direct messages. They're looking at them, and the things that these people say about what they do with your your private, like texts, DMs or text messages on Twitter. It is going to outrage people. Heads are going to roll. There are probably going to be congressional hearings after this whole thing is done. And this is just part one.
Many of my friends on Twitter, and I have the Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled Twitter Army Brigade. They actually helped me get started some years ago. I think we're up to 3.2 or 4 million followers, which we're very happy about. And we get out a lot of information to people that way. It's at Sean Hannity if you want to go there. And one of the things I do, I just have my whole staff has access to my account at any time. And but one of the things that we do is people reach out to me, and they're telling me that they're banned from Twitter. Have you ever heard of this new Twitter-like site? What is it, Gab or?
Gab. Andrew Torba is the CEO of Gab.
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine, and a lot of people are driven traffic to his site because of this.
Yeah, because Twitter in particular now has come under fire for banning people, banning their opinions. And I know people like to go out and Periscope, and they do live videos and all of this stuff, and live Facebook, et cetera. And I think it's a great opportunity for people to be citizen journalists, like you're doing. You know, what you're describing here, what your business is no different than what Mike Wallace used to do. And other people at 60 Minutes for years, except you always put out the entire tape, correct?
I usually do. I put more than the networks do, and Sean, I've sometimes released hours of tape. Sometimes I have to protect sources, but Mike Wallace, Upton Sinclair used to do this. There were undercover reporters in the 1960s and 70s who actually went undercover into media organizations, but the media can't abide me. They can't acknowledge if there's anything wrong with them, so they have to reject the techniques. But the techniques have been used for 100 years, and in this case, Sean, Twitter I don't know if the government should get involved, but unless the CEO, Jack Dorsey, makes sort of these algorithms public and their HR policies, the government will probably have to get involved, because the stuff that is coming is so bad. When I tell you what's coming, what they do with your private photographs, and things that you send your wife, and I'm not making this, it's not my words, this is their words. It is going to shock the conscience of the users on this platform. And the free market is going to create... So
there's no privacy on Twitter, is what you've discovered here. And that there's political...
It's worse than that.
There's political...
It's worse than that.
Censorship and beyond that.
It's beyond...
But by the way, that's
one thing.
All of that, there would be an expectation of privacy on Twitter, especially in your private account. So if they're doing these things, it sounds to me like they've opened themselves up for lawsuits 1,000 different ways.
People are going to get sued. People are going to lose their jobs when this whole thing is said and done. The next video is going to be out tomorrow morning. But Sean, this is going to be a catalyst, I think, for a change. And I've already heard from James Damore, who sued Google. Him and I have talked a little bit about what's happening.
By the way, I noticed that
out.
Charles Johnson and some other people have been suing Twitter of late. He got banned, I guess, in 2015.
Yes, Charles sued Twitter on Monday. I think maybe
there was another lawsuit.
Twitter, James Damore.
Yeah, so there are a lot of people now suing Twitter, and based on this information, you might have made them a lot of money.
They mentioned some of these people in the videos that are coming out.
All right, got to take a quick break. We'll come back. More with James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, and what are people going to do about the loss of privacy, and more of what's coming later this week in his investigation. Straight ahead. All right, as we continue with James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, and his deep dive into Twitter and social media, I would never, ever, if I worked at such a place, ever think it's within my rights to violate people's privacy. I don't understand why people feel that they can do that.
Sean, you have 15, 20 million, 25 million listeners, however many it is. I want your listeners to tweet at Jack, J-A-C-K, at Jack with this video, and ask them, Jack, what are you going to do about this? You're opening people's private DMs, the president's private DMs, and willing to give them to the Justice Department. What are you going to do about tweet at this company? Put pressure on them. Empower people to make change. It's the only way we're going to change the system, because all of your users and all of my supporters use Facebook and Twitter to get the information out. And if they're censoring that and they're manipulating that, we need to know.
I think that's a good idea, because I recommend people ask politely at Jack, what are you going to do about this video? James O'Keefe will have you back tomorrow with the latest installment. It's going to be very big. It'll hit tomorrow morning, and we'll have it exclusively here. We're going to show you this video on Hannity tonight, 10 Eastern on the Fox News Channel.